You pick up the phone when your best friend, partner, or child is calling, and you know from the moment they say hello how they're feeling. We all know there's a big difference between "hey" and "hi." You know this person so well that the most subtle tone change says it all, and you know exactly what kind of conversation you're about to have. But let me ask you, do you know your own body this well? I want you to imagine your physical being on the other line. Our bodies are constantly calling us in the form of feelings, sensations, and symptoms, like when you yawn, you know you're tired, or when you get irritable, it's likely that you're hungry. Too often, though, we treat our body like a telemarketer or a scam call. It constantly reaches out, and we have no interest in entertaining what it has to say. But our body is not a scam call. In fact, it's even closer than our loved ones. It's the very vessel we move through this life in, and it requires the same, if not more, attention and respect than the important people in our lives. So when we pick up our body's call, and we truly listen, and then act accordingly, we can elevate the quality of our lives. The World Health Organization defines quality of life as an individual's perception of their position in life in regards to their goals, expectations, standards, and concerns. They also take into consideration the context of the culture and value system in which they live. The current population of Earth is over 8 billion people. Within that, there are over 3,800 distinct cultures. And I bet if you asked just about anyone on this planet what they believe the quality of their lives were, you'd get a slightly different response. How would you describe the quality of your life? Environments, cultures, and values all vary, but one thing that every person on this planet has in common is that they inhabit a body. And how that body feels can have a massive impact on how we experience and perceive our lives. I'd like you to take a moment or two to reflect on everything that your body has endured. The experiences, the successes, the traumas, and all of the sensations in between. Your body is an eating, moving, and breathing record of your life. So how is it that so many of us have gotten in the habit of not treating our body in the way we'd like to live our lives? Well, we got in the habit of not picking up that phone when our body called. I finally picked up about 10 years ago when my quality of life was at an all-time low, and I got an earful. I had been neglecting my body by silencing those calls, which ultimately led me into deep depression, disordered eating, a whole lot of digestive issues, and even more anxiety. 10 out of 10, do not recommend. My body was constantly calling me in the form of symptoms and daily discomfort, begging me to change my habits. And it wasn't until I picked up. I really listened without distractions or judgments, and then acted in alignment with my body's needs, did I finally start to get some relief. This then motivated me to have some long, in-depth conversations with my body, like the kind where you're talking so long you need to plug your phone in because it's gonna die. Externally, picking up one of those calls and having that conversation looked like this. Internally, one of those conversations sounded something like this. Hey Maya, it's your body. So this emotional overeating we're doing all the time and this lack of movement, it's making us feel like garbage. Do you think we can do something about this? Hey body, yeah, so it's been a coping mechanism for a long time and I just haven't felt really motivated to move, but I want to feel better, so I'm ready to make some changes. As my quality of life started to improve, I began my work as a holistic health and lifestyle coach, where I started to help others pick up their body's call and listen to what needed to be heard. I very quickly realized that so many others were in the same boat that I had been, and that the disconnect that so many of us have from our bodies is simply not taken seriously. We often just move through our days in pain or discomfort until it gets so bad that we can't ignore it, and then are only forced to do something about it. Does that sound like someone you know? Maybe yourself. But picking up is the first step. Intentionally listening is the second. And the third is you actually have to take action. Now, there are many ways to strengthen your connection to your body, but I'm going to share 2 and some action steps that changed my life and the lives of many others. This was through shifting my internal approach to food and movement. I understand that there is a lot of information out there regarding food and movement that can be both misinterpreted and misused, which often leads us to ignoring those aspects of our life altogether, or constantly looking outside of ourselves for the one-size-fits-all answer, which, I hate to break it to you guys, it doesn't exist. A lot of the unique solutions and information lives in the body. We just have to pay attention. That being said, sometimes we need help deciphering the message our body is trying to send us. So that conversation could look like a 3-way call with a doctor or a holistic practitioner like myself. But regardless of our unique needs, food and movement are 2 things that every person on this planet needs for a well-functioning body and a good quality of life. If you look at different cultures from all around the world, you will find different traditional food and movement practices that have been around for a long time because they work for that population. Speaking globally, according to Statista, humans consume over 2.5 billion metric tons of food a year, and that number is growing. Food is a universal way to celebrate, honor, grieve, and sustain life. It fuels the creation of our cells through digestion, and the quality of our cells dictates the health of everything from our emotions to our organ systems. So what we eat is important, to say the least, yet so many people are totally unaware of what their body actually needs and wants in order to feel good. But it's not our fault. We're never really taught how to eat right for our bodies, and we grow up around a certain way of eating. This becomes comforting and frequently becomes our default. And even though it's familiar and accessible, it's not what will always make our body feel its best. So the attachment that we have to the diet of our upbringing, plus the disconnect that many have from their bodies, can oftentimes lead to a very unhappy digestive system. And when our digestion isn't functioning properly, it can throw our whole lives off. It's widely accepted that you might get bloated or gassy or tired after a meal and feel like that's completely normal, which it's not. A study done by the Rome Foundation in 2021 found that 40% of the world population has digestive disorders that affect quality of life. Let that sink in. So that means that almost half of the people you know, maybe yourself included, is or has struggled because their digestion is poor. Another study done by MPDI in 2023 found that specific bacteria in the gut, when imbalanced, can have a negative impact on our mental health, and how food contributes to this. My friends, how are we supposed to have good quality of life if we're making emergency runs to the bathroom or we're in an emotional funk because of what we ate? We need to figure out what the body loves and what the body hates in order to move toward the quality of life we desire. We do this by picking up that phone, having an intentional conversation, and changing our habits. Let's start this conversation by experimenting. Try all different kinds of food and see what leaves your body feeling its best. Notice what your body is instinctively drawn to. Then, experimenting or not, before you eat, take a pause, take a breath, and ask yourself what the source of your hunger is. Is it stress, anxiety, boredom, or is it true hunger? Figure out what the actual impulse is and then honor that. Then, if it is true hunger and you do decide to eat, do your body a favor and slow down. We can do this by chewing your food fully, putting your utensil down between bites, or eating without distractions like your TV, phone, or computer. Did you know that it takes about 20 minutes for your body to send signals to your brain to tell it that it's full? This is why we tend to get overfull when we eat distractedly or really fast. And then finally, after you eat, take note, whether mentally, in your real phone, or on a piece of paper, as to how that food or meal made you feel. This will help you make more informed decisions in the future so that you can keep your body feeling its best. These practices of experimenting, pausing, slowing down, and taking note will start to create a flowing line of communication between you and your body. I am a walking testimonial to the benefits of these practices. So pick up that call and listen to what your body needs in regards to food and movement, which is our next big tool for connecting more deeply and elevating the quality of our lives. Now, movement along with food has been an absolute game changer for myself and all of my clients. The way I have watched people's lives absolutely transform when they find movement they enjoy lights me up. I loved it so much I became a yoga teacher and a Pilates instructor, which has allowed me to help people fine-tune their connection to your body. Having a well-functioning body allows us so much more agency over our lives, which, in my opinion, is one of the greatest aspects of a good quality life. A study done by the Canadian Medical Association in 2006 showed that there is a linear relation between physical activity and health status, meaning that any further increase in physical activity showed an improvement in health status. This same study also showed undeniable evidence to the effectiveness of physical activity in the prevention of many chronic diseases, including, but not limited to, cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, depression, osteoporosis, obesity, and premature death. Can we all agree that we do not want to experience any of these? And acknowledge that movement is a preventative measure. See, I choose to use the term movement because there are a lot of preconceived notions attached to the word exercise. When I used to hear the word exercise, I thought it meant going to a gym 5 to 7 times a week and pushing myself until I was sweaty and exhausted. And only then was I successful. Well, thank goodness, I came to understand that it could mean something completely different because myself and many others simply don't enjoy that form of movement. If you do, amazing. I am so glad that you found the kind of movement that makes you feel inspired. On the other hand, some people prefer walking, hiking, running, spinning, dancing, Pilates, sports, martial arts, climbing, and so many other things that do not involve going to a conventional gym. It's also important to note that different bodies crave different kinds of movement. This can vary throughout the month, the year, or even in the many phases of our lives. In the spring and summer, you might like to run or ride a bike outside, and in the winter, you might like to lift weights indoors. Or early in your life, you may be drawn to rowing or rock climbing. And later in life, you might be more interested in swimming or pickleball. 6 years ago, my favorite form of movement was running and yoga. Quite different from where I'm at today, which is indoor cycling, Pilates, lifting weights, and taking classes at a pole dance studio. All of these are challenging, but they bring me joy. Let's start this conversation with the body the same way we did with food. Experiment. How do you think I found pole dancing? Try all different kinds of food and try all different kinds of movement and see what brings you pleasure and gets you excited. Know that you can do this for as long as it feels right in your body, but you always have the opportunity to switch it up. Then, with whatever movement you do choose, get in the habit of paying attention to the muscles and the body parts that you're using while you're moving. Notice when your body is asking for more of a challenge or when it's clearly saying it needs to rest. This will help you get the most out of your movement practice and also avoid injuries. And then finally, maybe most importantly, be realistic about your movement goals and intentions. We want to build self-trust and self-confidence. So start small and add to that when it feels appropriate for you. Let's not promise ourselves we're going to run a marathon next month if we've never run a mile. But if your goal is to inevitably run a marathon, start by going for a 5 to 10 minute walk every day and add to that when it feels appropriate for you. These practices of experimenting, paying attention, and being realistic totally up-leveled my quality of life. Not only did they help a lot of my physical symptoms, but they totally boosted my mental health as well. A study done by The Lancet in 2018 showed that all exercise types were associated with fewer poor mental health days. Within the study, participants who exercised had 43% less poor mental health days in the previous month than those who did not. So both food and movement have been scientifically proven to impact our mental health. When we connect to our bodies, our minds directly benefit, and then the quality of everything has the potential to get better. But quality of life. Time and again, I hear it being discussed at the end of someone's life. I really don't think we talk much or enough about it while we are fully living our lives. We all eat and move daily. And if we can do this more intentionally and with greater internal knowledge, we can move toward our most optimal way of being. When we're feeling good, it's a whole lot easier to make others feel good. So let's start at the source. We get this one life in this body. And my dream is for everyone to have the highest quality of life imaginable, so that we can show up for others and improve the quality of our world. So when you feel that call, pick up, really listen, act in alignment with your body's needs, and elevate the quality of your life. Thank you.